my first day in LBSNAA was in 2013, September 2nd. I remember the date also so well because as you correctly said, during my preparations, I had gone through the photographs of this academy so many times because we all aspire to reach that academy while we are aspirants. So I had seen all the photographs, or most of the photographs of the academy, the polo ground, the mess, the hostels. So finally September 2nd was my first day in the academy. I reached there the previous day and we were all allocated our respective hostels. And I was allocated to Ganga hostel. And during the foundation course, which is known as FC, it was not only Indian administrative officers, we had Indian police service officers and Indian foreign service officers. I think in the recent batches it has been slightly changed and some other service officers are also allowed, like Indian Revenue Service officers, etc. are also there in the current batches. With regard to my batch, we had IAS, IPS and Foreign Service, IFS trainees. So three of these service as officers, probationers were there. And one good thing about the academy is they make sure that there is interaction among all the services and also among officers from all different parts of the country. So even when they are allocating room in the hostels, they ensure that the rooms are allocated based on sharing basis. So they ensure that if there are two officers in one room, if one officer is from Indian Administrative Service, the roommate would either be from IPS or IFS. So even our classrooms are arranged in similar way. So an IAS officer would be seated next to an IPS officer or an IFS officer. So they ensure that the interaction is not just restricted to one service, that everyone interacts with the officers from other service. And also while allocating rooms, another thing that they take care is if one officer is, for example, say from Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, mostly the roommate would be say from Gujarat or Jammu Kashmir or from a northeastern state. So this actually ensures that there is a lot of interaction, communication cutting across officers from different states, which I found is extremely a good thing. So foundation course was say almost for about 3 months. And it was a wonderful experience because in LBSNAA, what they do is they make us celebrate the culture and the ceremonies of all the states, be it like southern part of India, northern part of India, eastern part, western part, central India. So there are many various functions, like we have cultural days of south zone, north zone, center zone, west zone. So where we wear costumes pertaining to those particular states or those particular zones, and where the cuisine of that particular day would also be cuisine of those particular states. And also we celebrate the major festivals of almost all the states. So we celebrate Onam, or we celebrate Pongal, we celebrate Lodi. So it ensures that you know so much about the other states. See, generally what happens is any person, while we grow up, we tend to have this feeling that ours is the best, like the state that I come from, or my language, or my culture is the best. Subconsciously we tend to have that attitude. But what happens is when you come to the academy and when you get exposed, when you interact with everyone, when you get exposed to so many other cuisines, so many other culture, you realize that every state has so much beautiful things to offer. It can be their cuisine, it can be their traditional dresses, it can be their dance form, folk art, painting. There is so much more to learn from each state, from an officer coming from each state. From each state in India has so much of beauty and so much of diversity to offer. So the 3 months of foundation course ensures that you know so much about each other and each other's state, culture, language. You end up respecting, learning so much about each other and having so much more respect about all the other various cultures. So in that way, foundation course is mainly about esprit de corps. It's not about competing with each other or anything. It's about learning about the diversity of our country and learning to appreciate the diversity. And I think the foundation course of LBSNAA does justice to most possible way. I used to participate in all the cultural activities. So I think most of the dance forms, be it Punjabi or be it Maharashtrian, I participated in almost all the possible dance forms in all the culture, be it southern zone, north zone, central zone. I used to participate in dance. The last day of foundation course I remember so vividly because the bifurcation had to happen. The IPS officers were leaving for their respective academies. IPS officers had to leave to NPA in Hyderabad, and foreign service officers had to leave to Delhi for their future training. So everyone was so emotional. The IFS trainees, IPS trainees and the IAS trainees, they were all emotional because we've all been like sharing rooms and sharing common spaces. We've all been friends with each other and we've all been, living in the academy together for 3 months. So they thought that, okay, one fine day they were all leaving. I remember all the buses packed with the officers and IAS officer trainees where we were standing outside, and some of them were actually weeping. They were like all hugging each other and weeping. So it was a very emotionally packed scene the last day of FC.